the second session in the series. We are focusing today on researching career and college prep resources. Today we have presenting Christine Jansen. I am a research and instruction librarian and an adjunct professor for the Information and Digital Literacy course at Fairleigh Dickinson University.
And I'm Sharon Rollins, the Youth Services Specialist at the New Jersey State Library. I did want to say one thing before we get started. Please mute yourself because I can hit mute all, but it also mutes Christine. And so I don't want her to have to keep unmuting herself. So just go ahead and mute yourselves. The toolbar is at the top. I know some of you might not be used to using Microsoft Teams, but everything is like Zoom, only it's up the top of the toolbar and it's next to camera. It's the mic button is next to that. So thank you very much, and we're going to get started.
So we have some community agreements for our session together. We have assuming positive intent. We are all here to learn and grow. If there are interactions in the chat, again, just assuming positive intent when people might bring things up. Respect all voices, listen actively, and to speak with kindness. One mic at a time. At the end, when we do have questions, either say that you'd like to speak, unmute yourself, but just one person at a time talking. Engage at your comfort level. So this doesn't have a whole lot of participation in it because we have a lot to cover in a little bit of time. But anyways, we do feel free to go to these as I'm demonstrating them. Go to them yourself, these websites and databases, or you can just watch as I demonstrate. We want to honor your time, so our focus is to stay as on schedule as possible and to keep any conversations that we have focused. Tech does happen. I'm very much a Zoom user. So if I am shifting or at any point I say that I am sharing a different screen and I am not, please bring that to my attention because I'm still getting used to Teams. And here we want to share learnings, not names. So respecting everyone's privacy and confidentiality when any information that might be shared from our own experiences that we might share. Today's learning objectives is to identify and recommend library databases and other online resources for career exploration and test preparation, to guide teens in using online tools to find jobs and internship opportunities, to assist teens in creating effective resumes and cover letters using available resources, and to demonstrate how to find and utilize test preparation materials for career-related assessments. We'll be doing this by just, again, each session just kind of going overview where information literacy currently is in New Jersey, and then how those databases that we are teaching or those skills that we are teaching each session, how they relate back to information literacy. And then we will demonstrate for you the resources and tools from career and college prep databases and websites.
So sorry for some of you who attended the last session. This is kind of a repeat, but it's really important, I think, that I share this with everyone. New Jersey is the first state that actually has a literacy standards bill. It was signed into law in January of 2023. And the state library received an IMLS grant called for teaching information literacy to support the standards implementation with training, evaluation, support, and dissemination for educators. And of course, that includes not only school librarians and teachers, but also you as public librarians. And the standards were developed and are currently under review. And once approved by the State Board of Education, the implementation timeframe will be established. There is going to be several public comment periods. and then relying on guidance from the Department of Education, which they have created the 4 pillars of information literacy. We're working with a consultant to develop a set of learning activities for all K through 12 grade bands, which is K through 2, 3 through 5, 6 through 8, and 9 through 12, by winter of 2026, and we're partnering with LibraryLink NJ. They are developing a 5-part online series of modules about information literacy, which are very general, so that's for anyone. And the fact that the learning activities are also not just geared for schools and teachers, but also for public librarians. So this is all going to be really useful for you because we know in some cases, you are the ones who work with students because some schools do not have school media specialists.
So today, the ways that we would connect this to the 4 pillars of information literacy is a teen comes to you and says, I want to start my own business. I'm thinking about going into the military. I want to go into the trades. I need help with studying for the SATs. If they have any of those information needs and they come to you, you would then help them to identify that information need and then to figure out, okay, well, where should I go for information for that information need? And then that leads us into information identification and evaluation. So that then leads you, we're going to talk about 2 databases and 4 websites that are either state or federally funded to help students figure out what they might want to do post-graduation and what resources are available to do that. Excuse me. The information use is then when you bring them to these sources, how are they going to use this information? Are they planning to read the books and information? Are they going to take the tests and quizzes? Some of these will actually help them to make resumes and cover letters. So by using this information, they can actually create the output, which then goes into information creation and distribution. So how it's going to work is I'm just going to talk to you about the similarities and differences between these 6 resources, and then we're going to do a live demonstration of each of these resources and how it may be most applicable to teens. So the first 2 New Jersey library funded databases that we'll focus on is the Small Business Reference Center and Peterson's Test and Career Prep, which all of your libraries should have access to because of the New Jersey State Library. Then there are government funded websites. These are .govs and .orgs, but the 2 that are .orgs are still funded by the U.S. Labor Board. And those are going to be the Occupational Outlook Handbook, ONET Online, apprenticeship.gov, and Career One Stop, specifically the Get My Future. And the reason why I said that is Career One Stop is that website is created for all ages, but they have a specific section intended for young adults called the Get My Future, which is a part of the Career One Stop. All right, so going over why would you go to which databases based on what information they need. So the Small Business Reference Center, this one has guides, articles, sample business plans, forms, everything, even like checklists. If you want to start your own small business, even like, oh, what's the difference between an LLC versus a corporation, sole proprietorship? You would now be able to do that. So if your student is looking to start their own small business, and on other pages too, there's other resources I'm going to show you is why they might want to start their own business. But this is really helpful for that. And in a moment, I'm going to do the live demo. When it comes to Peterson's Test and Career Prep, this is where you can get standardized tests. Students can also explore what career options are out there and build up their job skills. It does have practice exams for the SATs, the ACTs, the GRE, and the ASVAB. Like we said, there was career assessments. There's a resume, cover letter, and actually a website creator on there, and a way to search for scholarships. And this is great for students looking for all their options because there's also the tests that they might want if they want to go into public service or if they are looking to go into the military, or there's even firefighter exams and tradesman exams. So there's all sorts of exams. So this isn't just for necessarily college preparation. Then for the federally funded websites, the Occupational Outlook Handbook. This one really breaks down the careers that are out there and any information that you might need to know about the career. So this includes data on pay, education requirements, and the future job outlook, which that part can be helpful to see, okay, where's there maybe more demand for specific jobs? This is really also a helpful one if you're comparing different options, if you're not certain which kind of career that you may want to go into. Excuse me. ONET Online looks functions similarly to Occupational Outlook Handbook, but I feel that the way the pages are laid out, sometimes it's a little easier to digest. And it's interesting that each of these websites will refer to each other in different parts of their pages. This one again goes really deep into the specific skills and interests that are needed, maybe what programs you should need to know if you want to go into this career. Um, but there are some bonus things that ONET does provide over Occupational Outlook. When I do the live demo, I will show. The Career One Stop Get My Future. This one combines both career exploration of like there is an assessment of what job might be a good fit for you, as well as advice for creating resumes. There is job search and an internship search on this site, and training opportunities too, which would then lead into the apprenticeship program, which is apprenticeship.gov. And these are paid apprenticeship programs for those who might be looking into going directly specifically into a trade, that you would get on the job training and paid for these jobs. And then when you eventually graduate from the apprenticeship program, you're usually guaranteed some sort of a job after that, after they have invested in you. So, like I said, we're going to be talking about all the different options that students have to them. All right, so we are now going to dive into demonstrating some key points of each of these databases, just so you can, as we're going through them, think about, oh, have I ever had a student that came to me with these kinds of questions? Or also, is there ever a program that you might want to run as a teen or emerging adult librarian that is bringing these resources to the student's attention for career exploration? All right, so the first one is the Small Business Reference Center, which also goes by Small Business Source. When you scroll down, this is where you'll see they're called articles, but they're almost like mini ebooks. These are all the things that might be helpful for someone who's looking to start a business. But there's also these guides, the startup kit that will give you an actual like to-do list of what you need to do if you're looking to start your own business. If you're looking to do business on the internet, some business basics, some business plan templates, which is extremely helpful for the students if they're considering going green, as well as management and leadership topics. So there's all these great resources that are put together for the students to consider possibly starting up their own business. So I just wanted to bring this one to your attention. We have a lot more to go through, so we're going to spend more time in the others. So we're now going to hop over to Peterson's. But, yep, sorry. I did for so there's some stuff that you can see for without signing in, but it does help to sign in and create account. So, because a lot of it is to remember things that you've worked on. If you worked on your resume, if you've done any of the courses, it needs to know what your progress was. So I'm going to go to the browse menu and we're going to talk about each of these sections. So the first section is the improve a test. For high school, if students are studying for AP advancement courses, we do have resources here, but there's also the high school equivalency exams, which includes GED prep. And sorry, I do want to go back for just a quick second to mention. So the small, whoop, the Small Business Center is the one that is only English only. I will show you on all the other resources that there is a Spanish version of each of these sources. And for this one, it is right up here. If you were to select Espanol, it'll now turn the website and all of the modules into Spanish. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention if you did want, if your student needed it in a different language. So we were looking at the high school resources, but then under college prep, this is any exams that they might need in order to get into college. So these have the, just going to go to the SAT. So there is a digital course that helps them prepare and talk through what they're going to need to know. And then there's an actual practice test that they can do. And the lessons are broken down into these little modules. It shows them their progress, how much they've completed. And if they're ever not certain what's being covered in a particular topic, you can just do the question mark and it will let you know what this module is specifically about. So these are different things that students could then explore. Back here. Oh, also, for international, if you do have any teen students that are looking to get their US citizenship and need to take their US citizenship test, there is also studying prep for the US citizenship test as well. Then for find a school, sorry, I'm just trying to go through my notes here. Yes, okay. So the school search tool is a really great way to say, hey, these are my interests. What universities might apply to this? So by going and selecting specific filters on the left-hand side, it will narrow down what universities might fall into that category. So then and then they can easily save to my schools, and this gives them an opportunity to explore the programs at the different universities and find out a little bit more about those universities. Under the scholarship tool, which you could have just clicked underneath, but I wanted to show you the two ways that you could access it. Again, you could put in whatever filters or show the students what filters might apply most to them. And this will help them find what scholarships might be available based on what they are looking to go to school for, or maybe what kind of background they have. So this is really beneficial that there is the scholarship tool. The oh yeah, those were the two main. Not that you can't explore the others, but these were like the biggest ones that I am just trying to highlight right now. For explore, the career advice again is more module based, where it's talking about how to do a job search, key things to know about doing cover letters, they need to know about creating resumes, both the basics and what to consider when you're doing each of the sections, how to target your resume. So like some really great information here on not only how to make these things, but how to be competitive when creating these things so they're effective. Find Career is an assessment tool. Several of the resources we're going to show you today. This is where they can take a quiz. They're asked a bunch of questions and they're going to be given suggestions of what careers might be a good fit based on either their skills and or interests. So it says online resume builder, but it takes you to the resume, cover letter, and website builder. And the reason why it's a website is depending, on what field they're looking to go into. Some students make a website that is sort of just like a resume website. If they are going into the arts, it might also be a portfolio to show your past work of what you have done. So what's great about this is you can make, this has templates and a program to help you make your own resumes, to make your own websites, and to make your own cover letters. And there's two ways that you can make these resumes and cover letters. One way is that you can say create new, and it will, you could say, show me a fully written out resume that might be in a field that I'm looking to go into, and it'll completely populate it. And you would decide, oh, okay, this applies, this doesn't apply, and you would edit it. The other is to work from a template, and that means it's more of a blank slate, but the templates do are still very helpful in just letting you know what you need to put in each section. So a student could use an existing resume. They could use the example content, like I said, that one means it's fully populated and they would have to change some information. The start from scratch is where you could then have a template. So I might want this one over here. I like the look of this one. So this is where I said it's so user friendly, especially the templates in Word can be very frustrating to use. I love that this is so easy to just update. It's kind of prompting you for what you should be putting in your sections. And even if you want to make some more modifications, you can change the text, you can change the colors. So there are like some other things that you can tweak, and then you would download it once you completed it. Um, and also, I'm not certain how familiar you are with resume and cover letter writing norms now, but they are advising now that you only put your city and state. You should not be putting your full address anymore on the resume. So I know the job center at our university reinforces this. One of our classes reinforces this. So now you still put the city and town that you're from, but generally you no longer put your street address on resumes. So students would be able to, but let's just say they were doing this one and they're like, I still don't know what to really put in. That's where they could look at the sample resumes and say, okay, this one's data engineer, dental assistant. So this is just showing, but let's see this is a preview of what an entrepreneur might look like. If I was to select it, it would then add it into the resume. So it kept my design, but it put the information in. If a student might find it more helpful to tweak what is there or change something that is there, or just to see how would it be laid out. And then they can always reset the styling or change anything. So I just thought that was really powerful that there was this helpful resume builder. The cover letter is the same. You would click create new. They are so very much designed that I personally would probably choose something that's a little more traditional, but even if they want to just write the cover letter and not necessarily use one of the designs, what I do like is that it helps the student prompt how to write their cover letter. So here it's saying, oh, look, I can fill these things in for the first paragraph. Oh, here's some things that I can talk about in the second paragraph. So even if they don't necessarily want this whole design, I just love that it is prompting them to help them think about how to write the cover letter, and they could always copy and paste this into a different document if they wanted to put it into their own document. So I just thought that was really impressive. And then the website would allow them to make their own personal website. So the job search will show them both government jobs that are available and non-government jobs. The government jobs are contained within Peterson's. However, the non-government jobs takes you to Indeed.com. So I actually found that a little bit surprising. So just know that it could take them to either of those places, but this is where they would be able to look up potential jobs. And the planning guide and career guide, again, it's a module system that just is everything that they might want to think about. And I love that it talks about all your options. Are you considering the military? Are you considering trades? Do you definitely want to do college? What to think about if you are thinking about going into college, and then succeeding in the workplace if you do plan to either go there after college or to go there directly after high school. Just things to keep in mind. And then we also have a vocational test prep as well. So if a student is looking to go into the trades, here are an example of some of the test prep that, again, there's usually a course that helps prepare the student, and then there's a practice test that they can take as well. So those are all the multiple resources of the Peterson's test and career prep. It is very robust and has so much to offer. The next one we're going to go into is the Occupational Outlook Handbook. So this one is if they have a career in mind, that's when this one might be a little bit more helpful. If there's like an industry they want to explore, over here they can explore the industry. If they know that they want to make a certain amount of money or it needs to only have entry level education, they can do a specialized search that way. And then here, this is helpful for them to see what are the highest paying jobs right now, what are projected to be the fastest growing careers, what are the most new jobs, and based on degree, what do I have? So these are some resources they can use, but if they know if they have a specific job that they're looking up, they could put a search in. So I'm going to do librarian. So it shows all the pages where librarian is mentioned. Usually the very first one is the one that's most related, but you'll see that depending on what kind of librarian job you want, there are other ones here that may apply. I'm going to go to librarians and library media specialists. So the summary page gives them an idea of what's the median pay across the nation, typical entry level on the job, and then the little question marks just let them know, like if something says that it is above the norm or below the norm, it might say what the norm is. So for this one, job outlook, well, 3% is the norm. So it's at 2%. So it's not that much different than 3%, but it's just giving you context for the information that's over here. Gives you an idea of what they do, what it's like. Now, all of these, this is the summary, so it's the short version. But if you were to actually click on any of these, that would take you to these tabs up here. And that goes a lot more in depth of what are the duties of a librarian. Here it breaks down the different kinds of librarian positions, the difference between being an academic librarian versus administrative services librarian versus public versus school. And technical services. So it talks about how the jobs might differ based on that. It talks about the different kind of work environment, how to become one. So this lets them know, do they need what kind of bachelor's maybe they would want, and or is a master's required? If it's in other positions, it might just be a certificate or an associate's that's required. So this lets you know what you might need, and then also what important qualities might be helpful for having. There's the pay, the job outlook, state and area data if they want to be more specific to look in New Jersey, and then what similar occupations might be related. So these also help them to explore, oh, if I might want to be a librarian, what else might be similar to a librarian and what are those positions like? So occupational outlook, it does function almost more like a database, and it is very simple information. Sorry, I'm fighting with there we go. With the, um, not the Zoom bar, but the bar that is all the share screen, it's covering up my tabs. So I was just trying to move that so I can get to my tabs. Now, ONET Online functions very similarly, but like I said, it's laid out a little bit better. This one is if they know what job they want to look up, they could look it up. This again breaks down, okay, which career paths have a bright outlook, which ones are some of the hottest technologies, which industries do I want to search by industries, by job family, by job zone. and then some advanced searches that you could do, or also, oh, here's my abilities and interests. One of the things I found interesting here is, again, their interest profiler is another career test. So this allows them to know, based on my likes, my interests, and my skills, these careers might be a good fit for me. So this ONET interest profiler, again, helps them to explore. And it's interesting because it says you can explore even more at My Next Move, which is the next resource that we will be showing. Uh, if there are any, if you're working with emerging adults and they are coming back from their first few years of service and now they are looking for jobs, there is this section for veterans. And then for this resource, if you are looking for the Spanish option, this is where you would click it. And this would take the entire website into Spanish. And that reminds me, on the previous site, I didn't show you the Spanish option for here. Let me go back to my notes where this one was. Oh, I don't have it for this one. Okay. So this one, for the occupational outlook, because it's written in HTML, this one you would have to use Google Translate to translate the page into another language. So anything that was an image wouldn't translate, but anything that was just HTML text will translate. So for this one, if they do need it in another language, you would have to use Google Translate for. Okay, so back to ONET, and then my doc. Okay, great. And then it does go into their resource center. So again, we are going to look up how they might present librarian differently. So they have a code for each position. I'm going to click librarians and media collection specialists. And this is where I said the layout is a little bit more appeasing than the occupational outlook. The summary page will give you a taste of the tasks, a taste of the technology skills, but if you do the drop downs, it will show you all the tasks that you need to do. And another thing that could be really beneficial of this is on earlier resumes, younger student resumes, some of these might actually be their bullet points. So if they did work in fast food or retail, they could look up a fast food or retail job, and these tasks could inspire what some of their bullets would be for a resume. Now, the technology skills I thought was interesting because while I do think it's helpful to know a lot of these, not every librarian is required to know all of these technologies. So that's why I wanted to show the librarian job to you, because you are familiar with that job. Just so as other students are seeing, like, you need to know these programs, just know they might need to know these programs, but it doesn't necessarily mean they have to know every single one of these programs in order to do this position. Now, like I said, this part is a little bit similar to occupational outlook, but the two sections that are different is job openings. So here, this will actually look up librarian jobs. I selected New Jersey, but you could also select a specific zip code. So now that even if they may not be like seriously looking into this job, just to see what are actual job postings right now saying are requirements, what exactly is needed, what exact pay is happening in areas near them. So like I said, if they are looking for a job, that's great. But if they are still just exploring, it helps you know locally what's being paid or expected for the jobs around them. And then at the bottom, Occupational Outlook did not do this. It provides professional associations. So this is really helpful. I highly encourage that students do either check out, if not, maybe even join, especially at a student rate, the professional associations to get additional education, professional development, and support through all of these resources. So I just thought that those two things, the fact that you could actually search the job directly and that there was the professional associations, were both really beneficial. Okay, yes. Sorry, just going through my notes again. And then the details is just showing all these fully splayed out. And then custom is, if this is too much information, you could choose, okay, just show me specific things on a page, and it'll do that for you. The next one we're going to go to is Career One Stop is the main web page, but it specifically, this section is called Get My Future. And it has all these exploratory features for students to go through. So find a career I like is the actual assessment. So this one also has a career assessment. This one I think is one of the shorter ones. The other ones usually take closer to 10 minutes. This one takes about 5 minutes, and they will make career recommendations. Finish high school. So this talks about why you might want to finish high school. Do you need any help to finish after? Do you want summer jobs? Are you looking to go to college? Are you looking to something else? And then over here, you'll see that there's all these other side ones that other sections will navigate them to, or they could choose to go directly to any of these sections. Get work experience. So this can include internships, job shadowing, volunteer. It talks about the importance of volunteer work. Unfortunately, there's not a search for volunteering. Working in your neighborhood, school and community activities. So this is different ways that you can gain experience. I love this category, ideas for a first job. That was one of the things I had mentioned. So these are in different sections, what you might want to consider if you are looking for a first job. And these are going to take them to the job search. But there will be other ways to get to the job search as well. Writing a resume. So Peterson's really does a lot more hand holding. This one just kind of breaks down the main sections. It does have a sample resume of things to consider when you are writing a resume, as well as cover letters and things to think about if you have job references. If the student is looking to get a job, they have to click get a job, but then go down to job banks, and that's what brings you to the job finder. Now, the last time I was here, it remembers me. So if there was a code for any job, you could search up whatever code. If you did want to do, if you wanted to look up retail, and this is near me, I could look up retail. But if a student is looking for internships, the advice on this webpage says that you could search just internship, but if there is a field that you're looking for, to then also add that after internship. However, you will see here that I say within 25 miles. I'm in the Madison Chatham area, and the closest thing it's showing me is New York City and Jersey City. So it's not showing every internship that necessarily exists, but it does give students an idea of some internships that are available out there. So get training. This is where it's going, it connects students to their closest American Job Center. You might also be already aware of these training resources, but there's Khan Academy, Coursera, Academic Earth, and I love this, that they're saying find a local library to ask what training or workshops they offer. So I love that they're promoting the library. But they're just talking about where you can get some training, where you can get education, and then also if you need a certificate program, where maybe you need to go to find out information for certificate programs. Work for myself. These are for the students who are looking to be entrepreneurial, start their own business. And here's some ideas of how they could self-employ. And then they would just have to go through the resources to see whether it makes sense to just be independent contractor, sole proprietor, or if they, depending on what they're doing, need to protect themselves a little bit more and might want to consider starting an LLC. And then it gives them the steps of, how do you begin, resources for self-employment. So it's so chock full of resources depending on where students are looking to do. When it comes to applying to college, I love that it's a checklist to help you break it down. And all the things to consider it. In addition to about college and apply to college, it gives advice on how to pay for school, from grants to FAFSA, as well as conversations about is education worth it? So whether a 2-year versus a 4-year might be a good fit, or is a certificate over an associate's, depending on what you might need. Or does an apprenticeship make the most sense? So that article will walk students to think through their options. And then job search help actually didn't connect you to the job search. It just was more other local resources that you could reach out to if you need job help. Now, these buttons I find really help to guide students to what they might need, but this Find Support tab at the top is if they are looking to start a business, banking and credit, or even if they're working, a lot of the times, sometimes they might need direct deposit. So letting them know about banking and credit, transportation, how the foster system might apply to this. If you do happen to have a criminal record, what can be expunged, what can't be, who do you reach resources to reach out to if you do happen to have a career a criminal record, and they can try to connect you to jobs and training programs. Addiction recovery, again, resources for that. And if you do need money for food or other support, additional local resources that they can go to for those resources. And then lastly, the toolkit. This is the other way where you can get to the job finder. It also connects them to different businesses. This is where the interest assessment was, local training finder, occupation profile, practice job application, a reentry program finder. So those are students who might have a criminal record, salary finder, and a scholarship finder. So this is really great that you can put filters over here to say what kind of scholarship you might be looking for, and this leads you to different scholarships that are available. And then just some other resources that students might find helpful. So this is just chock full of resources, and they really try to connect students to local resources, even though this is a national program, of where you can find resources that are even closer. Then the last resource that we're going to be showing today is apprenticeship.gov. This is for people who are looking to have on-the-job training and get paid for it. So if you scroll down to I am a career seeker, that's where you would want to guide students to. And then here, it talks about what the program is, that it's a paid job, you are getting education, and you will get credentials afterwards. And then here is the apprenticeship job finder. So this one, you can't select on the state, but you can select a region. By selecting on a region, it is, oh, I am so sorry. My battery's dying. I just need 2 seconds.
And I'll just jump in here and say that I did send it in the chat, but yeah, you'll get the slides and you'll also get a recording afterwards.
All right. Oh, wait. Okay. Now it's actually charging. Excellent. So this is where they would be able to look up in our area. Pharmacy technicians is huge, especially in northern New Jersey. But there are so many pharmacy technician jobs where they will help pay for your schooling, and you'll be getting a lot of on-the-job training. So that is a great one that pays well. That sometimes people think it's trades, but this technician job is awesome too. The plumbers and pipe fitters are really big in New Jersey. Well, also, it's New England. It's northern New England, including New Jersey. Electricians and then automotive service technicians. So mechanics, again, are in a rising need. So just considering these are some of the biggest ones in our area. But if you wanted to look up um, more specifically just New Jersey, I think it let me search. Yeah. So when I search up just New Jersey, immediately it's pharmacy technician, pharmacy technician, pharmacy technician, electrician, auto body apprentice. So it's really great that there's all these opportunities that you can get paid. They're going to help cover your schooling because and a lot of it is also on the job training. So the apprenticeship.org is a really great resource for students who might be graduating and are looking to go straight into having a career. Stop that. Share here. All right. So hopefully now you feel more confident in being able to identify and recommend library databases and other online resources for career exploration and test preparation. Guide teens in using online tools to find jobs and internship opportunities, assist teens in creating effective resumes and cover letters using available resources, and demonstrate how to find and utilize test prep materials for career-related assessments. Does anyone have any questions for us? You could write it in the chat or unmute yourself. Do
Yeah,
they?
Emily's question is good. And I don't know, do you know if the others actually have promotional materials?
Great question. I don't know. Unfortunately, I haven't explored that.
It was more of me wondering out loud than asking, I'm
Yeah.
hoping that they do have something like some kind of template. But if I end up making one, I would be willing to share it with you, Sharon, if you wanted to pass it around.
That would be great. I love doing that, and I would certainly do that. Yeah, and I would say, yeah, Peterson's does. Most of them should because that's part of the contract that we, at least the databases the state library pays for. Um, but I would also maybe reach out to some of these other, databases and say, hey, you want more usage? Then you make sure you have these materials available that
Right.
we can use to promote them.
Right.
And I was showing you from the standpoint of showing a student what they needed. So we went down the student route, but a lot of these websites say education, additional resources for teachers, for librarians. Those are the keywords to look for on the website where there may be additional resources.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And sometimes, um, like if you Google the company, because they're trying to sell it to you, their company website well, because it's .orgs and .govs, but sometimes um like there's times for certain databases where I found promotional materials on the website about EBSCO, not actually going to an EBSCO database. So sometimes if you go to the main database or company, so in that case, Peterson would be Gale. Gale's website might have promotional materials in addition to what is on the website.
Awesome. Thank you.
No problem. Great question. Looking to see if there's others.
Don't see any others at the moment, but I have a question and you can unmute yourself. Do all of you or do some of you still do like a career day, or do the teachers ever or librarians ever reach out to you to do, collaborative stuff on careers? I know it's less, they're so busy. I don't know if they are able to do that anymore, but this would be a great opportunity to share some of the government sites that are not provided through the state library with them.
Yeah, I would love to. I haven't done a career day like that in a long time, but I'm planning on doing sort of a demo like this to my teens. Like I would do like a hybrid to over Zoom and sort of go through the things and then record it, and then this way it's kind of like a built-in presentation that I could use later on.
Excellent. Just checking.
I also think that the fact that there's opportunities for like them to create their resumes and cover letters and things are really and different databases. And also I realize this because some of you, if you're actually doing uh, you're apply I mean you're promoting a job that you have in the library, you can use some of the bullet points of what is involved in the job to include that in your application, or rather your job posting, because I sometimes think that we may not include everything that the job entails, and those bullet points could be useful for some libraries who don't want to recreate them themselves.
Oh, wait, did something just come through? Excellent. Okay, great. All right. So, this was session 2 out of the 5 sessions. Just be aware that our next session is not next week. We have next week off, and then we're meeting on October 28th. And that will be about researching current events and social issues, both on databases, but then this one is going to talk. A lot of students do this research also online, and we're going to kind of revisit lateral evaluating sources and focusing on bias, trying to recognize when there's bias and how bias might affect how we read, how an article might report on the news. Because th there's databases that have newspapers and magazines that, even though these are trusted sources, students need to also know that there could be bias in the news that's being presented there, as well as anything that they might find online. So we will be talking about the New Jersey state-funded databases, but also how to recognize bias, and how that might affect what you are reading. So that will be the focus of researching the current events and social issues. And then on November 18th, so we're gonna have a big break because it's a election day, and then I think there's something like even the November's crazy. So then we're going to be doing open data and government sources. So this is where can you find information in the databases, but also data that is available through organizations and the government that might help support as evidence based on whatever the student's research assignment might be. And then the very last session in December, we're going to talk about researching with AI tools. Things are changing. It's funny, like even in the going to these regular meetings with academic librarians, something that was true 2 months ago is no longer true now. This one hallucinates less. This one has this new problem. So it is always changing, but it's just to let you see if they're using AI tools, which ones we might suggest to lead them towards, or again, a lot of these are pulling from internet sources, so they need to know how to evaluate those internet sources effectively. And how can you use it more like Wikipedia, where it might be a jumping off point or a place to get background information, a place to get inspired for additional search terms, but not necessarily, obviously not having it write the thing for you. So we will be talking, and also the databases that AI is already integrating with multiple databases as well. So something for that to be aware of. And then Sharon will tell you about 2 other upcoming sessions.
Yeah, this is pretty self-explanatory, but Gail is doing a SAT and ACT Prep with Gail Presents on the 22nd. And EBSCO is also doing a new reference center interfaces on October 28th. And I did put in the chat that if you go to Jersey Clicks on our website, there is a Gail's Peterson's guide training on December 2nd. So if you go to the page, you'll see the upcoming trainings for all of these databases, and you can register there. And if you do go to those trainings, that's where you should ask them to make sure that they do have these promotional materials for things in Spanish. They should. It should be part of our contract, but I am going to verify that, and I'll send that out in the email I send to all of you with the recordings and the slides.
Yes, and we'll definitely be talking about points of view when we talk about current events, because points of view has they call themselves personal essays, and this helps to promote the pros and cons of specific issues. So that is a huge resource that we refer students to. All right, well, thank you so much for joining us on this day. We really appreciate you being here. If you do have any additional questions, feel free to reach out to us, which I'll put my email in the chat. But if you could please fill out this form, the State Library would greatly appreciate it.
Yes, we would. Thank you. Thanks everybody for attending. Don't forget, don't attend next week, but the next one is on October 28th. Thank you very much. Bye, everybody. Oh, I'll put my email in here too, just in case. Not that you can't find me, but thanks again. Bye, everybody.